Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. It was announced earlier this year that Tactical Adventures is working on Solasta 2 and that we would get early access. And then a couple of weeks ago, they actually announced that they would be releasing a demo. Well, that demo is finally available. Earlier today, I dropped a full playthrough of it. It's about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So if you haven't already, definitely check that out. This video is basically my overall impressions of that experience. So right off the bat, I'm going to say the obvious. The graphics look way better. One of the major complaints about Solasta 1 was the character models, that even though your characters could be entertaining to listen to sometimes, they were just really hard to look at. Well, it's the exact opposite in Solasta 2. I feel like this entire party looks great. Unfortunately, you have to play with a pre-made party for the demo, but you can already see that once we do get our hands on character creation, we're going to be able to put together some characters that'll be very, very pleasant to adventure around with. And even outside of the character models, just everything is obviously a step up, whether it be the scenery, the designs of the enemies that you face, just all the way around. This game is a visual feast in a way that the first Solasta game was not for most of your time playing it. The cinematics are also definitely upgraded. They play around a lot more with the camera. You can already tell from the 2 or 3 cinematics that are seen during the demo. And I'm excited to find out what else they're going to do differently from a cinematic standpoint when we get our hands on the full game. Now, the other major complaint that people had regarding Solasta 1 was the writing, and I definitely agreed with this complaint. I said so in my review of the base game. I did feel like the writing steadily improved with each DLC, but even by the final DLC, I felt like it was serviceable, where I wasn't cringing constantly, but it definitely wasn't anything that was impressing me or that I felt was noteworthy. Well, in this demo, of course, we're only getting a very small snippet of the game, but the writing ranged from decent to downright pretty darn good. There was a couple of conversations you have with kobolds that I was laughing out loud, really enjoyed. Thought they did a great job. And even in some of the regular standard conversations where you're just getting information to help you move forward in quest, all of it just felt natural. It felt good. None of it made me cringe. It was just a really pleasant change from the first one. Seems like what they're doing is going to be worlds better. The voice acting was absolutely standout, especially once again with the kobolds. I feel like those kobold conversations were just really super cool. But all the way around, the voice acting seems to be solid. I'm just very happy with what I've experienced of the demo as it relates to areas that I felt like Solasta 1 was very weak. Now, one of the areas where Solasta 1 was extremely strong was clarity. In my opinion, that game had one of the best character creation systems you can experience in a video game, in part because it takes D&D mechanics, which for many people can be very complicated, can be very layered, and it presents them in a very clear and easy to understand way. Now, once again, we can't see the character creator in this demo, but you can look at the menus that lays out all the items that you have, the character stats. You can look at your class information, things of that nature. All of the menus in this information looks super clean, super clear, super easy to understand, and it gives me a lot of hope that Solasta 2 is going to continue that strength of Solasta 1, where even someone who is completely brand new to D&D can easily pick this up. To be honest with you, I feel like Solasta 1 and Baldur's Gate 3 are neck and neck as far as best CRPGs for a new player to start with. And in fact, I'd probably rank Solasta 1 a little bit ahead of Baldur's Gate 3, only because it only takes 20 hours to get through it. But of course, again, as I mentioned before, the writing isn't all that great and the character models didn't look all that good. So that's the only reason I might rank Baldur's Gate 3 ahead. But Solasta 1 was just a great way for new players to get acclimated in this environment. And it really seems like Solasta 2 is going to be the exact same way. Speaking of getting acclimated, I love the way Tactical Adventures completely leans into the fantasy vibes. This first town that you visit, it has these monophonts sprouting up everywhere that you walk. So it's just clearly a magical fantasy place. You run into dwarves, humans, elves, halflings. We talked to kobolds. We've talked to a race called Cyclus, which I've never heard of before, but the one we meet looks super, super cool, and we fight a bunch of them as well. And while we don't actually see one, it is mentioned that a dragon is in the area. So seems like we might run into dragons that we can actually talk to as well. All the way around, great stuff. I hope they lean into this even more and that we get a bunch of different fantasy type creatures that we can speak with. I also really hope that some of these fantasy races are available as a race we can select when creating our character. That is one area where I was disappointed in Solasta. I felt like it gave us very basic run-of-the-mill usual options as far as what races we could be. They let you be, again, dwarves, humans, elves, halflings, the way all games do. And then they also, I believe through DLC, you have the option of being an half-orc, maybe. And that was it. So I'm really hoping that maybe this go around we could be a dragonborn. I would love to be a kobold, and even this Cyclus race, I would love to be able to create one of those type of characters. Just do something crazy and different that's not the usual run-of-the-mill options we get in every D&D type of game. Now, as far as the combat, once again, Solasta 1 has the very best pure translation of D&D mechanics into a video game. Of course, Baldur's Gate 3 is also stand out, but a lot of their stuff is home-brewed and custom. Tactical Adventures, to the best of their ability, tries to take D&D mechanics as they are and put them directly into this video game setting. It's amazing. It is such a great time. Had an absolute blast in combat. They do some cool things to try to make encounters a little bit more difficult for you. Enemies can move in ways you might not be able to expect. In Solasta 1, enemies could fly up into the air and rain down spells. I haven't seen that in the demo, but it'll be very interesting what kind of options enemies have in the full game. By all accounts, it looks like, once again, combat is going to be a really good time. And that's it. Those are pretty much my thoughts. To be honest with you, there's nothing about this demo that I really disliked. There was a problem with encumbrance. I felt like my characters got encumbered way too easily. But again, this is alpha, this is a demo. We'll see what it's like when we finally get early access in our hands. And of course, get access to 1.0. I assume that's an issue they're going to figure out how to flesh out. Or it might just be that I need to choose a character that has more strength so that I don't have to deal with it. But the encumbrance issue was the only one that I felt like popped up multiple times where I was a little bit annoyed. Otherwise, everything that I saw and that I experienced, I really enjoyed. And I cannot wait to get to more Solasta 2 content. Hope all of you enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments if there's any particular content for Solasta 2 that you want. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing more content on this game. Hit the bell so that you won't miss any of it. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.